Welcome to Supply Chain Partners TV and podcast, where we discuss innovative solutions delivered by our members at Supply Chain Partners. Our members can help you to build a high-performing business and supply chain. I'm Dr. Sharyn Grant, the founder of Supply Chain Partners. I've worked in the logistics and supply chain management field for over 20 years, and I specialise in strategic supply chain performance management. Let's now introduce you to our member. With us today is Ozan Kara, the CEO Netlogix Australia. Netlogix is a breakthrough digital freight management platform that uses smart, innovative technology to create an integrated network of transport operators, resulting in greater freight movement efficiencies for shippers and more customers for carriers. Welcome, Ozan. Thanks for joining us today.
Thanks for having me, Sharyn. Great to be here.
Today's episode is about tracking and reducing carbon emissions from freight transport. Freight transportation is essential to deliver goods to businesses and consumers, but unfortunately, the transport industry is one of the world's biggest polluters. Ozan, how significant is the issue regarding carbon emissions from freight transport?
Yeah, Sharyn, carbon emissions from freight transport is certainly a growing concern. It's predicted that by 2030, emissions from freight transport, being rail and trucks alone, will be 28% of all transport emissions. Shippers, fleet owners, specialist vendors, logistics professionals are under increasing pressure from governments, consumers, partners, and employees to operate more sustainably.
That's quite an alarming statistic. What is causing carbon emissions from freight transport to get worse?
A key one that comes to mind is the urban expansion and the recent boom in e-commerce. Freight transport is obviously an enormous industry and is expected to grow exponentially within the next 5 to 10 years. Also, the growth of international trade is contributing to the demands of freight transport. An estimated 4 billion tonnes of goods are delivered across Australia every year, and this is expected to increase 35% by 2030.
That is massive. How can carbon emissions from freight transport be reduced?
Foremost, a reduction in empty kilometres across the freight network will significantly lower carbon emissions, and reducing emissions is not only good for the planet, but good for business. Simply by unlocking efficiencies and minimising empty kilometres, Netlogix helps ensure every delivery is fully utilised. As a result, every route is more sustainable. By using in-depth data to match carriers' availability to specific job requirements, we help reduce overall emissions and boost sustainability performance for both shippers and carriers. This has important flow-on effects in terms of our clients' sustainability performance, compliance with relevant government frameworks, and reputation with their customers and their partners.
What do you mean by empty kilometres?
Essentially, empty kilometres refer to the unproductive distance that is accumulated while driving an empty container or trailer and not earning revenue. Tracking empty kilometres can help shippers assess and optimise a network to make improvements, minimise the empty kilometres travelled, or find backhaul opportunities. Empty kilometres not only waste fuel, truck mileage, but also time. Anyone in logistics will tell you that the objective is to maximise utilisation of assets to avoid empty running as much as possible. At Netlogix, our digital freight platform enables us to unlock efficiencies that lower the cost of doing business for all parties by eliminating empty kilometres, keeping trucks full, improving service from our curated carrier network, reducing emissions, and significantly improving business outcomes through data-driven insights, Sharyn.
That's excellent. So how big is the empty kilometres problem?
Big. It's always been a big problem right across the industry and is a major contributor to increasing carbon emissions. Unfortunately, Sharyn, with more demand on freight transport, the problem is growing.
So how can freight companies measure, report, and reduce carbon emissions from freight movement?
As a technology-enabled transport network, Netlogix connects transport companies and their fleets into a single network to move freight for customers right across the country. Therefore, Scope 3 emissions relate primarily to freight moved by contracted transport companies on behalf of Netlogix customers. These are measured and monitored by customer, by transport company, by origin, and by delivery region. In doing so, Netlogix is committed to reducing carbon emissions per freight unit per kilometre travelled. Underutilised trucks travelling empty kilometres creates unnecessary cost and emissions. By optimising loads and capacity usage across the Netlogix platform, we've been able to reduce wasted kilometres. In the last 3 years alone, over 100,000 tonnes of CO2 emissions have been prevented from going into the atmosphere.
That's incredible. I'm keen to understand how Netlogix has been able to help your clients to measure, report, and reduce carbon emissions from freight movement. Could you please provide a real-life client example?
Sure. One of our key clients is a large multinational fashion label who we worked with to develop the module and assist in reporting CO2 emissions back to their European headquarters. We have all pickup points and delivery points geocoded into our system, and from there we have algorithms to calculate the CO2 emissions at a consignment level. This provides the daily tracking of the impact on the environment by their supply chain. Also, the first design helped reduce the amount of vehicles on the road through consolidation of orders, which requires less fleet to transport the same goods.
That's an excellent example. What would be a key lesson you have learned that could help your future clients to measure, report, and reduce carbon emissions from freight movement?
Data insights of freight movement is critical and integral to the measurement and reporting process, and is essential to drive supply chain efficiencies and achieve sustainability objectives. So that would be foremost. There is limited knowledge how to navigate the recording, reporting, and reduction of carbon emissions from freight movement. Through our climate impact reporting, our customer and carrier base have been able to effectively use data to drive their environmental sustainability objectives. The report provides analysis of CO2 intensity for a freight network, along with the ability to measure and report any savings associated. The transition path to net zero for freight transport isn't necessarily clear, but there is huge potential for information and technology to improve optimization of freight movements.
That's a great lesson. I'm keen to understand how Netlogix works. Could you please explain how Netlogix helps shippers?
Sure. In summary, we help shippers with cost savings to improve their bottom line. We use smart technology to optimize the movement of freight across multiple shipper and carrier networks. This increases load utilization, reduces waste, and ultimately goods are delivered faster at a lower cost. We also help our customers to achieve greater service and reliability. Shippers can use any carrier to reach any customer, essentially. We bring a wide network of carriers together into a seamless platform that gives shippers choice and helps them improve their customer satisfaction levels. Shippers can tap into our existing network or bring their existing carriers into the mix, offering them the insights and efficiencies that are part of the Netlogix service. We also provide shippers with data visibility and insights, delivering real-time KPIs and control tower reporting to assist with informed supply chain decisions. We help shippers to also lower their emissions, as discussed earlier, by reducing empty kilometres and maximising efficiency to help our customers reduce their businesses' overall emissions and make progress on their sustainability goals.
You have identified many benefits for shippers. Does Netlogix only focus on lower costs, or can you help shippers to improve safety and service as well?
Certainly, the Netlogix win-win-win model, as we call it, means we can find efficiencies that improve both cost and service levels while ensuring safety and compliance remain high priority.
That's excellent. What level of reporting, insights, and analysis does Netlogix offer to help continually improve the operations of shippers?
Our digital platform uses advanced technology to gather data from every aspect of their freight network, giving us visibility of performance metrics on individual routes, laneways, and even customer level.
That's smart technology. Does Netlogix offer expert guidance to track, manage, and reduce carbon from your shippers' supply chain?
We certainly do, Sharyn. As customers and regulators, both domestically and internationally, move to a more detailed and transparent accounting of emissions in the broader supply chain, we've developed sophisticated tools within our platform to help track, analyse, and report the carbon footprint of transport operations.
That's a comprehensive service offering for shippers. Could you please explain how Netlogix helps carriers?
Sure. I mentioned our win-win-win model earlier. Our digital freight management platform delivers an abundance of opportunities for carriers also. Many independent transport companies are joining Netlogix for the chance to be part of a new generation in digital freight management. Unlike brokers, we take the very best elements of industry expertise, deep partnerships and advanced technology to remove the administration burden and allow transport operators to focus on what they do best. Look at their trucks and drivers within their operations. It's a win-win-win for everyone. How do we do this? We help carriers access fully utilised loads every single day. With customers all over the country, we ensure our carriers' trucks are full. Better loads obviously mean better margins. We can help optimise loads and routes and put more goods into unused space that our transport partners already carry, giving them better returns. This is also less administration for carriers. They spend less time on admin and business processes and more time on their trucks and drivers, as I mentioned. And they also get paid on time when working with Netlogix, giving them peace of mind and consistent cash flow each month.
You have identified many excellent benefits for carriers. So how does Netlogix help carriers to access more loads with bigger customers?
Sharyn, we are already moving over 6 million freight units across Australia and New Zealand, and we're growing faster than ever. Our network effect means that each carrier we add to the platform dramatically improves our appeal to big shippers looking to reach their customers.
That's excellent. Is it complicated for carriers to install and learn how to use the technology?
No, not at all. Our experts take care of integrating the technology and setting up the systems to work with the software and management tools our carriers already use. Their drivers get an app to use on the device they are already familiar with. So very easy.
That's great. Is Netlogix able to improve the tracking visibility that carriers can provide to their customers in real time?
Absolutely. The advanced technology that's gone into our digital platform allows us to gather data from every aspect of the freight network, providing us with performance metrics and detailed visibility on individual routes, laneways, and customers.
That's great visibility. Does Netlogix offer expert guidance to track, manage, and report carbon in the carrier's operations?
We certainly do. We've developed sophisticated tools within our platform to also help carriers track, analyse, and report the carbon footprint of their transport operations.
You have highlighted many excellent benefits for shippers and carriers. How can shippers and carriers see a demonstration of your Netlogix freight management platform?
They can reach out to one of our friendly team members directly or via our website, and would love to help them.
Excellent. Well, thank you very much, Ozan, for joining us today from Netlogix.
Thank you, Sharyn. My pleasure. If your audience would like to know how the climate impact reporting through our digital freight platform can help with the environmental sustainability ambitions of their supply chain operations, they can feel free to contact us at Netlogix, and would love to help.
Thanks, Ozan. Well, that concludes today's episode about tracking and reducing carbon emissions from freight transport with Netlogix. You will find all their contact details listed below. So join us again at Supply Chain Partners TV and podcast, where we meet with our expert members at Supply Chain Partners to discuss key business and supply chain issues, topics and trends, including logistics, supply chain management, technology, and much more. We welcome you to subscribe to this Supply Chain Partners channel, and we look forward to you joining us again in a future episode.